Speaking of rides, we're driving into this week of NACLQ. It's been a lot of fun watching these games. If you are just joining us from the LCS stream, welcome. This is the official coverage of the NACL qualifiers, the Tier 3 space in NA developmental esports right here on the LCS Challengers channel, where we'll have highlights, interviews, analysis, and more for this first week of the group stage. So make sure you stick around the whole way. We got 90 minutes jam-packed with content, and we hope you stay tuned.
Yeah, absolutely. And in case you need a refresher as well as to how we got to the point that we're at, this top 16 teams were all coming from the open qualifier that was held 2 weekends ago, each of them having a record of 3-2 or better. You can see here on the graphic that we're going to pull up on the screen how each team individually placed from the Swiss format last week. Teams were seeded first on record and then on the seed that they were given by the qualifier selection committee before the tournament began.
Yeah, so surprises here with Winthrop and Team Fish Taco most notably falling down to 3-2. But we can go on to see the other teams that unfortunately did not get to make it here today. But the good thing is, for these bottom 16 teams, they still got 5 qualification points for making it into the promotion tournament for every win that they collected. That could be valuable if some of these teams do decide to run it back and make a deep run in Qualifier 2. That happens in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and some surprise performers on this list that even though they didn't end up making it into the main tournament, still had a very valiant effort throughout. And now at this point in the group stage, every team is still involved, meaning we have 16 teams still battling it out for a chance at glory here in the LCS Challengers League. But for now, let's focus on that group stage. Here are each of the groups seeded based on the Swiss standings you just saw. Teams will play in a GSL style bracket, with the first rounds being the 1 seeds versus the 4 seeds, and then the 2 seeds versus the 3. Each group is best of 3 in a double elimination style.
Yeah, and if you aren't super familiar with GSL style brackets, it's the exact same format that the LEC is going to be running after the conclusion of that initial group stage that ended up happening, where the 1 seed plays the 4 seed, 2 seed plays the 3 seed. Winners play losers until you get the top 2 teams to make it into our knockout bracket. But we can just get started by walking through the games that happened this past weekend, starting with Group A. This group at Hawk I thought was very interesting because you had BlackRock, who went 5-0. Taco and CCG were both very highly seeded, but ended up going 3-2. And then you had Clown Gaming, which was a team that was seeded 26th by the committee, but then, of course, made that miraculous run to get to 3-2 and to get here into Group A.
Yeah, this group was filled with surprises from pretty much top to bottom, whether they were good surprises or bad surprises. And we can start off with the first one of those surprises. You already talked about Clown Gaming managing to sneak their way in, and we can roll the highlight package. Unfortunately, Clown Gaming did have to FF Game 1 as their starting top laner was not available for the match time. But in game number 2, BlackRock up 1-0. They got things going early.
Yeah, you can see here Kitsuo already with pockets on the Jin Zhao, going aggressive into the enemy jungle. Damons and Nostalgia Lee are able to bait things out for a little bit. You see on the other side of your screen, Robbie Bob taking a little bit of pressure as well, but you see that first blood picked up for Kitsuo. That was the start of a great game for BlackRock's jungler.
Yeah, it really was. And the whole top side of the map, BlackRock really just started to look good. We had some great moments, like you said, from Kitsuo. Grapes ended this game 12-1-4 on the Xin Zhao, meaning that they're moving on to the top game in Group A on their side of the bracket.
I mean, you know how good this team was in the bracket, in the Swiss bracket last week. They went all at 5-0 despite being seeded only in the top 7. Kitsuo, of course, had a great game. Decoy as well, making big advantage up in the top lane despite there being a sub up there for Clown Gaming. But it was a very quick win, and honestly, Hawk, I think we could say this might be the fastest best of 3 ever in terms of League of Legends, because you had an FF Game 1 and then a 23-minute Game 2. I mean, it was dominance top to bottom for BlackRock, and we're looking to see more from them as a team to see if they really can be that top dog.
Oh, man, does it really count if it's an FF Game 1 for fastest best of 3? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit cheating. I do want to give a quick shout-out, though, just to throw a bone to Clown Gaming. Paragon on Varus had a really good showing in the open qualifier the week before, and then this past weekend still played a really nice game despite the situation.
Yeah, so we'll see them in the lower bracket as BlackRock moves on to the upper half of Group A, where they'll play the winner of our next series, Team Fish Taco versus CCG. These are two teams with very high expectations. We're going to start things off right off the bat. bot lane, which is where Levitate and Snow got off and running with the help of Limo.
Hang on, Grapes. You're looking at bottom lane. Is that a Darius jungle for Vacant right there? I mean, we got another Argentum cooking draft right here, but it worked too. Look at them clean up the fight. CCG, an axe through the back of Levitate's head. They had a really nice game number 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing to pick up this ace would just be to kill Sudsy. Seems pretty easy. You know, get the decimate as well, and
hang on.
still alive.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Sudsy gets 1.
Fancy feet?
And the juke over. Sudsy gets 2. That's a double kill. AD LeBlanc, by the way, for the Team Fish Taco mid laner, looking to make his 3rd straight promotion tournament. He's going to be able to escape here and keep things alive for Team Fish Taco, at least for a little bit.
Yeah, and CCG still ahead, though. They have the options to get the game. They got themselves a Baron. They're sieging, but a nice engage from Snow and Sudsy, who on this AD LeBlanc is just popping off, able to clean it up for a triple kill in front of the base in this fight, Grapes.
I mean, the movement out of here is really good. Limo trying to dive the backline, buys a lot of space, actually forces Red to jump over the wall, and that leads to his downfall, allowing for Sudsy to pick up that triple kill. Taco suddenly has some momentum. They're headed to try to pick up this Mountain Soul, but oh no. You forgot what happens when the Darius jungle goes online. Watch Vacant here just absolutely rip through this team.
Oh, the Darius jungle. I never thought that was a phrase I would hear in a competitive match, but spoiler alert, if you're new here to Tier 3, we're going to have some more cook drafts because these players have pocket picks on pocket picks on pocket picks. But Game 1 goes the way of CCG as Vacant was able to clean it up. But Game 2, we are right back to bot lane as Levitate, Snow 2 on the Aphelios Melio are able to start cooking early.
Yeah, they were doing really well, and then right here, things get a little bit hairier on the Dragon. Trevor is able to survive for a long time, and watch Flocon here as well, trying to pick up one last kill. Snow flashes away. He's looking to BM a little bit. Watch him. Watch him. Watch the dance. There it is. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
You don't want to BM that hard. Flocon picking that one up.
That's what they call instant karma. If we had a not top 5, absolutely at the top of it, Graves. But Taco, despite the maybe a bit of a misstep from their support, they continue their attack on the bottom side of the map. Levitate picking up another one. And what can you expect? Blue side bot dives. It's a red side moment, Graves. CCG,
yeah.
They can't stand under their tower.
We've talked about the bot lane for so long. Crimson, Sniper's brother, by the way, on Riven for this game too. Unfortunately, this is going to be the only clip that you see of him in this game. Didn't do too much as Taco ran away with a very decisive game 2. They brought things even and sent us to a decisive game number 3.
And sometimes it can be decided by a level 1 as Taco goes for the invade, but oh, there's 5 people in the bush as it's another kill going over. But at the Grubs, Taco, they're going to fight back despite the tough situation.
Yeah, Flocon looking for the engage, but it gets flashed away from Taco. Able to do pretty well here. Levitate getting caught out. He had a very solid start to this game, got a couple of dives in his favor, but now after, the Caitlyn dies, CCG actually able to get a couple of kills back. Vacant, specifically on this Viego, is somebody that we're going to have to watch for the remainder of this highlight package.
Yeah, I mean, Vacant in general, I think someone that's really standing out to me on the CCG roster, putting them in a lot of good positions and doing so much. But now on the Herald play, Taco, they're on the push. They've got the Caitlyn Lux. They want to try to push it down. And even though a couple kills do get traded back, you can see Levitate firing away the headshots from the back line. And that's not going to change in this Baron fight.
Oh, nice ulti. Flocon, a new player to the scene on the Nico. Unfortunately, not a ton of follow-up, and Levitate was able to flash away from that one, and you can see here, able to 1v9 the remainder of this team fight. Crimson trying to get on top of him, but with the help of a little bit of peel, the Caitlyn autos just continue to go down, and Team Fish Taco coming away with a really nice team fight win. I mean, Levitate had a phenomenal series, Hawk.
Yeah, 12, 2, and 4 in game number 3. You can see, I mean, just the spacing in this fight. I'm pretty sure while he was charging the ace in the hole right there is the only time that Crimson was actually able to get on top of the Caitlyn the whole time. Incredibly well played by the AD carry of Team Fish Taco. They are able to take the series 2-1, but it was most certainly a grind. However, Team Fish Taco, I mean, I will say, they had to work for it, but it felt like it was mostly in their control for most of it.
Yeah, I feel like overall, yeah, TFT, or Taco, I should say, other than the Darius Cheese, felt like they were very much stable for, you know, the remainder of the 2 games, specifically through their bot lane. And I want to give a shout out as well on the other side to CCG, because I think like Vacant played really well. Flocon, who again is a new player, is somebody that I'm very excited to watch more of from the CCG team. And hopefully we see more out of Crimson as well, because he had a little bit more of a quiet series against Taco, and he is a very exciting prospect that we're going to be seeing more and more in this space.
Yeah, most certainly. But we can take a look at those results from Group A, as Crimson, Flocon, and the rest of CCG unfortunately do fall to the lower bracket, where they're going to try to take care of business against Clown Gaming next week. Meanwhile, Grapes, we have a potential finals preview. BlackRock Esports against Team Fish Taco in the upper bracket.
The team that won 5-0 versus the team that was the 2 seed coming in to the Swiss stage based off of the selection committee. So teams that both have a ton of high expectations. Taco, I mean, obviously had to battle to get here. They went 3-2 in the Swiss stage and then had to, you know, go the distance against CCG. But I still think this is going to be a very, very competitive matchup. Down in the lower half of the bracket, I just hope that Clown, you know, is able to put together a competitive series. I hope we see their full roster, because it would be a bit of a shame if they weren't able to get to their full potential after making such a miracle run to get here.
Yeah, they definitely have their work cut out for them as CCG. I mean, as we saw from their performance against TFT, they got their work laid out, and it's not going to be easy. But some of the stars of Group A were in Team Fish Taco's bottom lane. We talked a lot about Levitate and Snow 2 over the course of this highlight package, Grapes, and after their win against CCG, we had Grapes sit down with them to walk us through their impeccable laning phase and their decisive Game 3 win.
Welcome everybody to Semi-Pro POV, where we'll take a look at the point of view perspectives of some of our players here in the NACL qualifiers and see what exactly they were thinking during some of the most exciting moments of the tournament. Today from Team Fish Taco, we have Levitate and Snow, the bot lane. Hello guys, how are you guys doing?
Yo. Doing good.
This game against CCG, seems like you guys won bot lane pretty hard for the first 2 games. Going into Game 3, what are you thinking in terms of how you like want to play bot lane in terms of, you know, pick ban?
We expected them to play Lucian Milia. Like, we didn't really know what they had left. We were just like, okay, we're gonna beat them. Like, we're gonna roll them in lane. So we went with KLux.
I think on paper it's supposed to be like around 50-50. The better players will win this usually.
Level 1, the plan seems to be stack bot lane.
Well, I was pinging about E cooldown, but I didn't really tell Lebo to wait for my E, so...
I think I legit told Lebo, like, yo, they could be in that bush, by the way. And Lebo was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll 1v5. So
respect. But yeah, we just want info on their jungler. No sums are burnt or anything, so that's kind of whatever.
What are you looking for level 1?
I mean, I just made sure to Q through the wave, and I have a lot of range advantage, so once Milio uses E and Lucian uses Q, like, I know that I can play to push while also poking them.
So you guys know that Viego's bot, right? Because you have the ward here. Are you guys thinking about like a 3 camp into going bot? I feel like I've seen a lot of junglers do that these days.
If Viego gets pulled bot and Limo comes to match, their jungle's hostage here with no camps up forever. As long as we don't die to the gank before Limo's here, they're pretty blasted from this position.
I guess you have ward here. Is that, you think that's enough protection for you guys in 2v2?
Yeah, that ward's enough, because even if he does come around, like, we just need to see him one time, and they don't have a good gank setup, so ganking us is pretty hard in general.
We also have the other ward deeper in river near mid lane, so he can't even do something creative and go around the wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, towards our blue buff. So
now Limo, after clearing, you know, his topside quadrant, he comes bot.
So he wants to go hunting and find the Viego.
Like, if he finds Viego, then we can push and then move to Limo so that we can kind of push him out together. If he's not there, then we know he's topside after his camps are all gone, and we can just dive their bot lane, especially when this Lucian has no cleanse. Like, as long as he's not full HP and he's like pretty chunked, like, it's... yeah, we can do it, so.
Also no E, so.
You're calling for jungle to tank first, or one of you guys?
I mean, I'm supposed to tank for sure. Because I can like swing down, and then I can be out of range, right? But Limo walks to the guy to force his flash, and then, yeah, I mean, they are just pretty blasted.
You said it's kind of 50-50, but at this point, you guys are like pretty hard winning this lane, right?
Yeah.
Bot lane's over from this
Yeah,
point.
bot's over, yeah.
Damn, just like that. 3 minutes. That's all it takes.
So, yeah, so what happens here is Limo says, okay, I'm gonna come give you guys a pink ward. You'll see in a bit, their Viego tries to retake the space. Basically, the whole idea is, if this pink stays up, Limo could be anywhere. Limo could be sitting in this tri-bush, he could be pulling his blue, he could be pulling dragon, and they have no information. Once they have no info, we can basically play 2v3 forever.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing KLux, we already have a lead, and one ward is really all the vision we need. Not only does it like hide where Limo is, because he could be anywhere, but as long as we see Viego coming from that pocket, like, we're forever safe, right?
Are you calling for dive again?
Not yet. I think right now what Limo wants to do after this is he wants to go find Viego again. Viego could be here, he could also not. So if Limo goes to find the guy and Viego's not there, then they're dove again.
And especially if Sudsy comes, right? Like, we can kill them anywhere. Like, they don't even have to be under their tower. Like, we'll just fight them and win.
When does it turn from like going scouting to all right, we're diving?
Just when Limo takes enough space to see, like, oh, Viego's not here, or, oh, Viego is here, let's kick him out.
So now that we see Viego's not here, now go, go, go.
And if Viego's there, like, he will just, like, he'll
The
die
Viego
too.
is the guy dying.
Yeah.
Alright, nicely played.
If you saw what Limo did there, he just flashed on top of him and pressed W. So the Lucian cannot, he literally cannot do anything but flash away, which he doesn't have. So if he dashes, he's just going to get grounded, right? Like, there's literally just no counterplay. Unlucky, I guess.
Draft out, baby.
You played against Red a bunch of times in spring, right? With when he was on Taco.
Bro is at Harvard. He has enough in life, you know. He can give me an amateur win, you know.
True.
We were so lost on if we should pull or if we should just base, and we kind of just like,
We should for sure base, by the way.
yeah, we were
should for
busy,
sure
so
base.
we just pulled Baron because we're that bad and we don't know what to do. Order's going a bit crazy. I didn't even notice that.
Damn.
And then
Well, it's not
okay.
a bad engage, but no one was in range, so I think
Yeah.
yeah,
we're completely fine.
Nick didn't flash an eagle. Like,
I'm
I mean,
sorry,
I
I'm
have
a bad
double
guy.
spring and just for that one,
What
very
did
bad
you just say?
But it's fine. Like, we won.
There's no mechanics here. You're just kind of hitting what's in front of you.
Yeah.
Hattie.
Short for headshot. That's a classic. That's a classic Snow 2 com. It's very distracting because he like whispers it in the mic like it's ASMR, and like I just get this like it's just so unbearable, and I just miss all the CS after that. So.
He
Oh wait,
likes it.
wait? Why don't you say it right now for the viewers watching or the
Okay.
people that will watch?
Hattie.
See, like, okay, Graves, like I just want you to like imagine yourself playing League of Legends, right? Like you're just trying to lane, you're trying to win, and your support just says that like 10 times a game to the mic.
Okay, but listen.
You guys playing BlackRock? What are your thoughts on them?
5 noobs, 1 team.
Well, 2 of them. We might give them a game, you know, just to get like let them have one, but we won't lose. That's
Bro.
for sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Levitated Snow, and let's get on with the show. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much to Levitate and Snow 2 from Team Fish Taco for breaking down that game with me. I feel like my brain, Hawk, just like grew 2 sizes from watching that one, from just like getting the chance to sit down and talk to some of our really talented players in Tier 3.
Yeah, I'm so impressed because Levitate and Snow clearly know so much about the game, but also so well-spoken in the way that they discussed it, and they're also having fun. I mean, it was really, really interesting getting to learn some pretty high-level concepts from that video.
Yeah, they'll be moving on to the upper bracket, but let's see who'll be joining them up there as we head on to Group B. Another interesting group because of what happened in the Swiss. You have Aporia, who lost in that 4-0 match to BlackRock in the Swiss bracket, and then our number 1 seed, Winthrop, who unfortunately ran into some snags, finished the bracket 3-2. They're matched up against Gentle Hearts, where Aporia will be facing off against the Abandoned Kitten.
Yep, and it's our number 1 seed, as you said, and our number 3 seed coming into the tournament, both in the same group, which is how you know it's going to be spicy. Gentle Hearts, they want to try to play spoilers. Abandoned Kittens, another one of our upsets to even get into this point. They're probably just happy to be here, but, I did get to talk to them. They want to do more than just be here. But, Grapes, let's get started with Abandoned Kittens against Aporia.
Here we go. I mean, upsets team versus a team that I think played about as well as we expected them to. We start off with a play down here in the bottom lane. We have Lucian Nami for Phantom Star and Devin, and man, Lynx really thought he had enough to get that bailout through. He unfortunately goes down for first blood, and Devin had a fantastic early game here in this first matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so nicely played. I also want to point out Music playing the brand jungle, another solo queue style of pick coming through, but Playmaker getting involved on the bottom side of the map to continue the aggression. I mean, Lynx and Rovex, they thought they could roll this lane, but it wasn't the case, except Samakin, hello!
Yeah, look at the score right now, by the way. 15-4 in favor of Abandoned Kittens. It looked like they were poised to pull off another upset. However, Samakin, the minion Nico ult just really turned this momentum in favor of Aporia. Lawrence is able to get on the board. Music picks up a big shutdown, and it was all Aporia actually from this moment forward. They brought the gold lead back to even. They took the Baron, and they somehow survived the incredible early game of Abandoned Kittens.
Yeah, unfortunately, despite that early game, Abandoned Kittens, they just did not quite have enough left in the tank to be able to find the win, but well played to Aporia, getting the win that, I mean, again, many expected them to be able to get. This was, in theory, one of our most one-sided matchups of the tournament, and they were able to get it done, but not without being tested. This time, however, Grapes, Lynx able to get things going on the bottom side the way he wanted to last game.
Yeah, it looks like Lucian is a pretty solid duelist early levels. He picks up a double kill there. Lynx had a fantastic start to this game. Lawrence getting involved on the Aatrox as well. And Samikin in the mid lane on Vex had himself a phenomenal game.
Yeah, it's been a while, I think, since we've seen Vex in any sort of competitive. Again, yet another one of those pocket picks that our young players are willing to pull out. Samikin, someone that had a lot of hype around him for this offseason, and you can see why. This is not going to be 1, not going to be 2. It's going to be 4 kills in the bottom lane, 3 of them on the Samikins.
It looks like he might be in trouble there. That's all right. Although the Abandoned Kittens were able to find a couple of picks, Aporia really took hold of this one, and unlike their counterparts in Game 1, did run away with it. Look at this Aatrox healing, by the way. Just absolutely insane.
Some funny Aatrox moments here and there, and as the highlight package continues to close itself out, Aporia, as you can probably surmise from the 25-7 scoreline at the top of your screen, they do manage to pull out the 2-0 and avoid the upset early on, sending the Kittens down to the lower bracket and putting themselves up in the upper, continuing on their winning ways that they established in the Open Qualifier.
One last fight here, just showing off Music getting involved on the Vi as well. You see the KDAs, Lynx with 9 kills, Samikin able to pick up 12 at the end of that one, and it ended up well for Aporia at the end of the day. A little bit of, nerves maybe in game number 1. The early game definitely was not in their favor there. When they play against tougher opponents, that might prove to be a bit of an issue. Yeah,
it definitely could, especially a team like Abandoned Kittens. I want to throw them some positives as well, similar actually to Clown Gaming. This bottom lane of Devin and Phantom Star, I am impressed with the way that they have been playing the game. I do think that they do have a bright future, and a lot of these players have been playing together for a long time. That game 1 showed flashes of brilliance, and against a weaker team, Abandoned Kittens definitely has the potential to maybe bring something out.
Well, Aporia into that upper half of Group B. Let's see who'll be against them in this matchup against Winthrop University and Gentle Hearts Gaming. Both of these teams finished 3-2 in Swiss, trying to get back on the right foot. Gentle Hearts has an opportunity here. It was a really weird jungle path that led to this interaction happening, but it did lead to Gentle Hearts picking up a couple of kills just in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, there was already a jungle scrap before this highlight started, and then it happens again. But now we get into the real meat and potatoes. It's a dragon fight, and even though Ariandel only finds 1 with the Pop Blossom, Winthrop is completely split in this fight. Sword not able to find the right targets. Mobility drops. And even though Denethor does take out the AD carry, look at this, Grapes. It's Gentle Hearts getting going in the early game.
Yeah, look at Barrack on the Darius. This is a pick that he's very, very confident on, and he took over in this fight. I think contributed to 4 kills, had 3 Noxian Guillotines come down, and that was an ace here for Gentle Hearts. So another upset potentially on the horizon here, and you see Ariandel with another Pop Blossom, except Wokao on the Jin Zhao pushes him away with that Crescent Guard, and that allows Sir Winthrop to get right back into the driver's seat.
And I want to compliment Winthrop, that Baron call as well. Very, very aggressive, very well done, but it's not without issue. Gentle Hearts there now fighting back, 2-man Tempered Fate. And look at Ariandel, we're saying his name again, as he pops off on Winthrop. They clean him off the map. Gentle Hearts, they find 4 to try to save the game.
Fortunately, was not enough for them, though, as Winthrop were able to come right back from the Death Realm and finish this one off. It was a bit of a sloppy one, but our number 1 seed heading into the tournament picks up game number 1, and we'll look to close things out here. Game number 2, Hawk, that's the Denethor story.
Oh, it is a Denethor story. Grapes, let's just count them. 1 right there with the flash forward, and there is going to be not 2, not 3, but 4 solo kills for Denethor on the Gwen.
He was a little mad that Barrack popped off on the Darius so hard in game number 1. He made sure to come back with a vengeance. This Gwen R5 by the Eagles, and they were able to, have a fantastic game, specifically through their top side. You see the rest of the map not really getting involved. They didn't need to when they had one of the best players in NACLQ go this crazy. Unfortunately, I think Denethor does die in this fight, but at this point in the game, Winthrop are so far ahead that they're able to complete the sweep anyway.
Yeah. Damage was already dealt. Nice shuffle right there coming through from Sword as well just to finish things off. And Winthrop, they will find the 2-0 after what was a bit of a touch and go game number 1. As we take another look at the series, I mean, Winthrop still a little bit shaky compared to some of the expectations that we had coming into the tournament. But overall, a 2-0 over what was expected to be a pretty solid Gentle Heart team is a good look.
This Gentle Hearts squad was pretty exciting, I think, coming in with the roster announcement. You have Rox down in the support role. Ariandel's been around here for so long, and Barrick really exciting in the top lane, as you saw with the Darius performance, but they haven't been able to get super hard, off on the right foot, and, they're going to have to, work their way back. They play Abandoned Kittens next week.
Yeah, we can take a quick look at those results from Group B. Again, Winthrop and Aporia on the top side of the bracket. Gentle Hearts and Abandoned Kittens going to be fighting for their lives. Potentials at rematches next week. We'll see if the Kittens can find an upset. But until then, Graves, we have a bit more content.
Yeah, Aporia versus Winthrop, definitely an exciting matchup in that upper bracket, and while there are a ton of experienced names on both of those teams, one of them is a little bit more unknown, a rookie in the mid lane named Samikin. We got the chance to sit down with him and talk about how he got introduced to League and his wild rise to the top Tier 3.
Hello, my name is Samruth Lung. I go by Samikin on League of Legends. I currently play for the Boston University Collegiate team, as well as the Aporia team for NACLQs and currently qualifiers. I was born in Cambodia, but I moved to the United States, to Pennsylvania, around 2008, so when I was about 4 or 5 years old. We mainly played video games such as Wii Sports, and then we eventually got a laptop for my whole family to use. Since we lived next to our cousins, we visited them often, and then we saw them playing League of Legends, so my brother got into League of Legends, and then I saw him playing, and then I got into League of Legends. I started in late season 3, so I was about 10 years old, 9 to 10 years old. I was a Silver 4 player for 2 years. In 9th grade, I hit Grandmasters for the first time. It was about 450-ish LP. And then during the same summer, I took a University of Pennsylvania summer program for mechanical engineering. And one of the TAs there was a college student in his junior year, and he also played League of Legends. I asked him if we could play together sometime, and then the next day when I saw him after we added each other, he was like, I thought you'd just be some kind of gold player like me. And then I look over my friends list and I see that you're Grandmasters. I was like, oh, is that a high rank for people my age? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh. I am known as the Zoe One Trick in high elo, being able to hit rank 1 on a champion that most people didn't really play or believe to be really weak. So I'm really happy that I was able to consistently stay within the top 10 of NA for basically 3-4 months, even the middle of the season to the end of the season. I would say what really got me going into the competitiveness of League of Legends was definitely once I realized that I could get scholarships for just being good at the game and then finding a college that would be able to sponsor me. But in the end, I ended up choosing to not go the collegiate route. I was told by my brother, who had a lot more experience in the esports scene, that it's better to just go to a college that's good for you, that has a good reputation, and work on amateur stuff on the side. So I ended up going to Boston University. They didn't really give me any scholarships for being an esports player. After persuading from my friend Windoges, who also happens to be in the same year as me, he then convinced me to get onto the League of Legends team because I was very apprehensive at first. I made a lot of great friends here at Boston University. It made me realize that the main reason why I chose to go to an out-of-state college was so I have a lot more freedom from my busy family life and meet a whole bunch of new people outside of my usual sphere of friends by taking this leap. I knew and I'd hoped that I'd be good enough to be able to get into a new world of amateur and LCS. After going 2-3 in the spring open qualifiers, I had to take a break. I couldn't play in the summer open qualifiers because I was vacationing in Cambodia with my family at the time. I came back, grinded all hell out of solo queue, started college, got back challenger, and then I got invited by Karen Moser from EG as a part of the EG X HPE Combine. And I was really surprised because there was this rule about 40% of a person's champion pool cannot be on one champion. And I asked her about it after the Combine, and she was like, oh yeah, you were just under 40% when we made the snapshot of inviting players. That is really lucky. If I had over 40%, I probably wouldn't have been able to been invited to that Combine, and I probably wouldn't have been exposed to the world, basically. Going into the Combine, I knew that I was one of the better like laners, and I know that I could transition that into leads. So I felt like I was definitely around the same level as everyone else, and maybe even like a little bit better in certain aspects such as like laning and mechanics and micro. So I felt like I really belonged there. There was no imposter syndrome this time. Rovex was the one that actually reached out to me. I was talking with some other teams about potentially being on their roster, but then I saw their roster with Lynx and Music and Lawrence, and they were only missing a mid laner. Most of the really good mid laners already had like NACL offers and OQ offers from like really established teams or like orgs. I was basically one of the last few mid laners. I guess that was the main reason why they picked me, so like I'm grateful for it, but I'm glad to have been given this chance. My goal is to definitely become an LCS player. My goal for this split is to definitely make it to at least the promotional tournament and defeat an NACL team. I've already declared myself one rival, one Mr. Toasty Alex. We basically started at the exact same time. He's basically the opposite of what I am. Even though we have both very good lane phases, he is, in my opinion, he has a lot better macro and engages in team fights as well as flanks, which is something that I still lack. He will be the one person that I will be looking forward to playing against and defeating eventually. On Twitter, I don't really use Twitter that much, at Semikin TW, at Semikin LOL on Twitch as well. And on YouTube, it's just Semikin, I believe.
Thanks so much again to Samikin for sitting down with Grapes and really giving us a lot of awesome insight into the story of this young player. Someone that we have so much excitement for, and it'll only continue to grow as Aporia does find themselves in that upper bracket. But that is the end of the first day of the qualifiers, but we still got a whole another day remaining with Group C and Group D on Sunday. Let's take a look at Group C.
This was one of my personal groups to watch because there were so many new pieces and new players that we're going to be seeing here for the first time. You have a B on Pulsar, Morningstar White, and Pookie Bears are almost completely new players making their first appearance in NACLQ, and even Ole Miss. You know, you think about Shogo, Stray, Icelandic Hero, Uncle Sam, they all have never played in this qualifiers before, and they get their first look here against the Pookie Bears.
Yeah, and we talked about Morningstar White a lot last time around, a team with some really cool and exciting faces. But, you know, some other teams, Ole Miss, Pulse, all extremely exciting. Pookie Bears even. This one is definitely a group that is going to be competitive, and it has certainly delivered after this first week of games, as we can get started with Ole Miss against Pookie Bear, where right off the bat, the goal is to feed Mr. Shogo, and Grapes, they get it done.
Whenever on blue side, dives in the bottom lane are going to happen, seemingly, as we see Icelandic Hero take a lot of attention there, maybe get caught out a little bit around the blue buff, but it looks like he's just barely going to be able to survive. And after he gets out, watch Shogo on this play as well, is able to flash away, and then the rest of Ole Miss is able to come to the party.
Yeah, and look at this. It looks dicey, but Shogo now not bothered. Ace in the hole, going to fly in and watch the positioning, watch the trap lines, able to kite forward. Health bars dropping off for the Pookie Bears as it is a triple picked up from the Caitlyn. However, not all sunshine and rainbows, Grapes. Pookie Bears, they get stuff back. They make Ole Miss work really hard if they want to run over this game with their Caitlyn comp.
Yeah, X-Royal picking up the 1K shutdown there on the Aatrox. He actually had a very solid game. Aatrox, very strong champion right now, and he was able to pilot it very, very well. Stray getting a little bit antsy over here, and we go to the mid lane at around 30 minutes. We're actually pretty even in terms of kills, and it looks like Pookie Bears have another opportunity after a really nice shuffle. But Shogo still left untouched, and watch what he does here. Just some of the best Caitlyn play you're going to see in the NACLQ.
I know, just perfectly untouched, still full health, full mana, firing it in. Icelandic Hero also with the Cyclone. I think he had a really nice game number 1 on the Wukong, and this time it's not a triple Grapes, it is a quadra Ole Miss. They're going to take the first game in what was a bloodbath, 21-17.
Yeah. Back and forth a little bit. Pookie Bears, they were able to find a couple of kills, couple of angles, but unfortunately for them, they end up falling. This time they have X-Royal on the Rengar. That's a signature champion of his, but we're just going to go right back down to the bottom lane, of course, because Shogo this time on the Varus, still doing what he does best and owning down there.
Yeah, couple solo kills for Shogo, and now, again, How does Pookie Bears fight back? They're gonna find a kill or two here in the river if they can help it. Uncle Sam gonna drop Icelandic Hero as well. But look who has arrived. It's Shogo. And in the long chase, Shogo, Rhino, and Co. able to chase them down and clean it up, staying just one step ahead. And now, Grapes, this clip is funny. I just included this purely because Zaijan, unfortunately, just gets the ring around from Bard here.
Rhino had a really funny series. He was limit testing a bit, playing some champions that are very strong right now in the Karma and the Bard. And although Zaijan and X-Royal actually, again, both had very solid games, you can see here the kill count still incredibly close. Although, when you have Shogo going this crazy on the Rift, it doesn't really matter. This guy playing his first qualifier, making it look like he's a real vet.
Yeah, this time Ole Miss, they're going to get it done in just under 30 minutes. It's another messy one, but what's the story of the series? Shogo ends it 28 4-8 on the KDA for a total of 9. That is an unreal performance from the marksman of Ole Miss. Maybe looking at the rest of the team to step it up, but Grapes, you can't deny that whenever we look at Ole Miss on the Rift, we're definitely expecting it to be the Shogo show.
Yeah, really good stuff out of Ole Miss. We'll be seeing them in the upper bracket against the winner of our next series, Morningstar White versus Pulse Star. This is one that I personally had my eyes on as being a very exciting one. We can get into the highlights right away. And right off the bat, we're starting in the jungle with Kryra on the Zac. You can see here making a play in the mid lane, just beautifully timing that double Q. And then he ends up going everywhere. He goes top lane. He's going to go bot lane in a little bit as well. Kryra had a fantastic early game against Morningstar.
Yeah, the counter gank was nice, and now the proactivity coming through Zac, a champion that we've not seen a lot of in a little bit here in the tier 3 space, but Kryra making it look awesome in this one. And Pulse, I mean, they're going to get up to a big lead, Grapes. They are going to be multiple kills, a few thousand gold ahead in this one. Looking nice so far in game 1.
Yeah, this is a rematch of a game that happened in Swiss, and Morningstar were able to come away with it. Looks like Pulse having a much better look here in game number 1. They win a fight here. Although Enthralled goes down, you can see Reppy has a really good opportunity to get a bunch of damage down. They end up cleaning up with the help of a B, and with this huge lead, Pulse is going to go over to the Baron, and only a couple of members on Morningstar able to stop it. However, the DPS on the Baron was not a lot. Reppy did have to go back, and things about to get hairy with 3 members coming over to the pit.
Yeah, surely with our massive lead, it's 6,000 gold, a few kills. We can just take the Baron right. Uh-oh, AoE knockup. Oh, here they come. Here comes Morningstar White diving into the pit, and the health bars are dropping. Is it Dignitas or is it Pulse as Morningstar is going to clean them off the map, and they are actually going to take the game in game 1.
Down in gold, down in 9 kills, and Morningstar still coming up ahead. We head into game 2. Pulse desperately needs something, but already Cozy getting targeted a little bit, but they end up mistiming this dive. Cozy had a bad Swiss game against Yusin. I think there's no other way to put it, but he is getting his revenge here on the Aatrox. Gets a 2v1 under his tower, and then picks up a solo kill against Yusin on the Yasuo.
Yeah, Cozy finally able to get going. Someone also finally able to shut down Yushin, a player that we have had so much excitement for. But hold your horses, folks. It's time for the Reppy Katarina montage on his one trick. Second best Katarina player in North America, I believe, behind Cat Evolved. He is gonna pop off in this fight.
Yeah, disrespect to Reppy. You don't think he's number 1?
I'm just going by solo queue ladder. I'm going by rank.
I mean, he had a great game here. Reppy, well known for his assassin play, and absolutely on this Katarina as well. You can see here, it looked a little hairy at the start for Pulse, but then as soon as Reppy TP's in, it becomes very, very easy, and this is the last fight to cap it off.
Yeah, I mean, the assassins for Morningstar, for better or worse, they're good at closing out games, but this time around, they just don't have the damage. And once again, Reppy going big mode, finishing this game with quite a few kills on the Katarina, and that sends us to a decisive game 3, where Cozy got his revenge last game, Grapes, but this time, Yushin, yeah, he's back.
On the Olaf, which was the champion that he did very well into against Cozy last time around. I think Cozy is going to have some nightmares about Yushin Olaf from this point forward. Soul Never Die also getting the Rengar. That's a really strong pick for him, and Morningstar took control of the map through the top side.
Ooh.
A really great engage by Pika Pika on the Rel, and Pulse is just running back to their base, but they're not going to get that far.
Yeah, and the Twist of Fate as well, a champion that I'm excited to see coming out for some of these teams, as especially with the Assassins. It just looks so strong, and Soul Never Die and the rest of Morningstar White, they are going to win this game. They're going to win the series as well. 7-0-4 on the Rengar for Soul on your screen. Gonna finish at that scoreline, and Morningstar White, the hype train continues.
I'm not going to lie. I think this was one of the best series of the entire weekend here, Hawk, because just such high-level gameplay from both sides. Each team having pop-off moments of their own. The game one was just weird overall.
Yeah.
Very excited for Pulse, even though they dropped this series, but Morningstar also looking good.
And I think most importantly, pocket picks being demonstrated, but we can send it over to the results of Group C. Morningstar White, they're going to be taking on Ole Miss in the upper bracket, which is sure to be a banger. Pulse fighting for their lives against Pookie Bear, who is a team that might not be a pushover for them.
Yeah, but let's take a look back towards that upper bracket, because a team that has continually impressed throughout this start of the OQs is Morningstar White, and they're full of some really new exciting players with a new perspective on the competitive scene. And Hawk got the chance to talk with their jungler Soul Never Die after their 2-1 win over Pulsar.
And welcome everyone, where now I am joined for an interview by the jungler of Morningstar White, the new hot sensation here in the NACL qualifiers, Soul Never Die. Soul, how are you doing this evening, my friend?
Not much, not much. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How you feeling so far? The OQ performance going 4-1, then taking down a pretty good Polestar team. I mean, vibes got to be good, no?
Oh yeah, it feels pretty good. We were under some pressure after we lost the first game, but we were able to refocus and we came back in a 4-1 in the first round. I think it was great. And during the first group stage, the matches against Polestar, I think because we don't really have a lot of competitive experience, we were a little nervous. We didn't play as well as we wanted to, but we were still able to just make the game out and then win in one goal. I think it was pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good for everyone.
And a huge win to be able to pull out in the end puts you guys in such a good position. And it is interesting to hear, like you talk about, you guys are limited competitive experience. How did this team sort of come to be? Because at least from the outside looking in, it seems like you guys are basically just a bunch of super high elo players. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on like how this squad came together.
We were just a group of friends. Basically started, we heard about this NACL tournament, we heard about OQ, and then we were like, hey guys, do you guys want to do it? Let's do it. And then we formulated a team, and here we are. So yeah, a very, very interesting experience for us so far. I think we all enjoying it.
Nice. It's good to hear that you're all enjoying it. I've heard good things about the competitive experience that you can get in the qualifiers and everything, but I want to also hear a little bit more about yourself, because of course, while your team has been really exciting, you've been one of the junglers that everyone's had their eyes on. So tell me a bit about like, when did you first start getting into League and then interested in competitive, and what's your journey been like through the space throughout the years?
Yeah, so I started playing League of Legends in my high school days, and then I hit Challenger first time in Season 8. Took me a month to get there. Before that, I was just a Master player. And ever since I quit the game, I came back during Season 11, and have been Challenger ever since. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. And then when, like, this is your first split at competitive, right? I'm not mistaken on that?
Yes. Well, first quote-unquote serious one. We had another team that we ran for fun the other time, but yeah.
Okay, all right, I got you. So this is like the first main foray into competitive for you.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken as well, you're a talent player, right?
Yes.
we saw it in Game 5 at least of the OQs. I went back, watched, I think it was Game 5 against Winthrop. Why Talon? What makes Talon the best character in the game?
It's fun, man. It's I think it's one of the most creative, most free jungler available right now. You have basically infinite amount of angles that you can go for, lots of creativity, and also he's not that strong. I hate playing meta champions. I absolutely despise people abusing Graves and Kindred to rank 1. All the junglers does it. I hate it.
I love it.
I enjoy playing off meta champions. I enjoy succeeding on it.
That's so badass.
I enjoy being the only challenger talent.
That is so badass. I love too how you like that extends to competitive as well. Like even though you're in these high stakes matches, you're saying, hey, I still want to play my stuff. That's awesome. Well, and I'm curious as well, what are your personal goals for this qualifier? Are you hoping to go pro or just like have a good time with your friends? What are your goals personally?
If there's an opportunity, if I'm good enough, I think I made this one tweet on my Twitter saying that for 2024 I wanted to win Worlds for NA. That's the ultimate goal, but you know, if the opportunity comes, we'll take it.
Oh, that's
until
awesome.
then, we're just gonna focus on what's at hand. Yeah, we're gonna focus on this OQ.
You know,
see how far we can go.
Soul, I would love if you won Worlds for us. I'm just saying, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. I'm gonna find that tweet and put it on the screen. I believe I believe you also want 1 million followers. Is that, am I also not mistaken?
Yeah, it was kind of a joke. But, yeah, that's there.
What's more realistic, the 1 million followers or the winning Worlds?
I think both are pretty realistic if we go for it, but you know, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, I love it. I love that confidence. And we talk about the qualifier this weekend. Now you guys got a pretty big time opponent in Ole Miss. They were the 4th seeded team coming into the entire thing. One of the teams that I think a lot of people had their eyes on. Do you have any sort of expectations for going up against this team for your squad?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game versus them. We played versus them in scrims before, and they're obviously a bunch of really good players, but I'm more confident in my own teammates, so I think we'll prevail.
I know that's one of the matches I am definitely most excited to watch for this upcoming week. But Soul, before I let you go, anything else that the people should know about you and any part of your story that you feel like you want to tell right now?
Hey, if one day we win Worlds for NA, this is where it started. Remember this moment.
That's awesome. If any day we do it, it started right here in this interview with Soul Never Die on Tier 3 tonight. Well, Soul, thank you so much for joining me. Where can the people find you on Twitter and everything, or social media that they can follow you?
Find me on Soul Never Die dash. I think it's at Soul Never Die 1. I have 2 Twitter. The other one I forgot the password. They won't let me change it. But anyways, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna get back to the show. Thanks again to Soul Never Die for taking the time to sit down with me for that interview. I mean, you gotta love the confidence coming out from a player like that. I don't want to play meta. I want 1 million Twitter followers, and I'm gonna win Worlds, baby. You love to see it. But Grapes, now it's time to take a look at our final group of the weekend, Group D.
A group with a ton of very exciting teams, a ton of really questionable matchups between these two. We had UCI versus Wang as our match of the week. Lotus and ISU both impressed in their own right, with Lotus going 4-1 in the Swiss stage. But we're going to actually start off down towards the bottom, as it's the University of California Irvine against Wang's Revenge. This was our matchup of the week on the last episode of Tier 3 tonight. UCI students on both sides, and we start off with a really hectic team fight at around 11 minutes.
Yeah, it is hectic. You could say that again, but Debonair flying in with the Corki after what was a nice scoop from Cinna, but not enough left in the tank for UCI and a Wang's Revenge. They're going to take the first team fight, and again, UCI, a really strong showing in the open qualifier for them, performing above expectation, and I think for many to a high level at that. But you know, they tried to fight back here in this dragon fight, not just here, but in the extended chase as well, and they go over some kills and fall behind early on.
Yeah, Elated playing the Shen. That's a pick that we have not seen a ton of. He gets a double kill right there down in the bottom lane at the back half of that trade. Really, really cool for Elated on a new champion. You can see here already saving Cinna with the Stand United as well. Gets to the fight right in time and actually helps UCI get a couple of kills back off of this dive.
Yeah, they get a couple back, but they also get taken down as well. The Zac passive for Rapid getting things done, and here's where the game is really going to take a turn as Wang, they get the Baron, and UCI, they're going to try to chase down for the kills, and they are going to clean up quite a few. 4 to be exact, as UCI is back. But fortunately, Wang's Revenge, they have the Hook Doctor on the Thresh.
Yeah, right in that Baron fight, UCI killed everybody except for the top laner, Boil the Oil. You see her on the Cassante, and they didn't do that a lot the entire game. He went off on this champion, as you mentioned, Cerulean as well on his signature Thresh. They punished the University of California Irvine after they took that initial fight, and they run it down to end the game in 33 minutes.
Wang after an upset in game number 1. Can they continue it in game number 2? We have not had any upsets so far in the group stage, but it's off to a good start as the crazy bot dive. They've already got 5 kills at just 5 minutes. However, Sinna's showing up, and alongside the support light pulse, UCI, they're going to try to look to get something back. The concussive blows are coming through, and the clockwork wind-up is doing work for Sinna, as he does manage to mostly equalize the play with a triple.
Yeah, this was a crazy start to the game. You see here, Deathwalker has 10 CS at the end of that whole ordeal. That's like 6 minutes into the game. It was only fighting down in the bot lane to start off game number 2. Sinna got pretty fed. However, we're looking here at this fight around 22 minutes. See Elated getting onto the board, but boil the oil. This time on a new tank, still not dying.
It's just running a train through this fight, and now with the Baron in hand, they've got the siege. Going for the dive. It's a little bit dicey. Deathwalker's going to get kicked, get dropped. Debonair, though, on the way. And keep your eyes on Azir, or should I say Faker. Look at that shuffle right there, baby. Finds 3 in the fight, cleans them up. And after a massive open qualifier performance, UCI, they're going to drop in Grapes. I said on the show last week that I wouldn't be surprised if Wang manages to advance. And, yeah, how about that?
I honestly didn't think UCI played too bad throughout this series. It was one of those closer 2-0 series that you can have. You know, I thought Sinna, specifically on the Azir in game number 1, played very well. Elated had a pretty solid series, but let's talk about this Wang Dynasty team a little bit more, Hawk, because Boil the Oil in the top lane, just refusing to die on tanks, ended that series 13-1 and 13. I mean, what a big rise to the top this guy has had, and now Wang in the top half of Group D.
Yeah, this was a really, really good look for Wang's Revenge. Again, a team we were excited about, and they prove it. Cerulean, Boil the Oil, and the rest of the squad firing on all cylinders. But who will their opponent be? We'll have to find out, as our last matchup of the weekend was Lotus against ISU.
And buckle in, folks. This was a very back and forth series between two teams that weren't necessarily super close in terms of seeds, but right here off the back, you see Frost Forest going a little bit too far onto a disconnector, and here comes Meslo as well on the Udyr. Building AP, still doing a ton of damage and still not going down.
So if you're new to the tier 3 scene, I need to give you a quick primer. This is just a typical ISU series. Bangers only for this team, and this game is no different. I mean, it is a bloodbath from start to finish. Look at TC Porsche cleaning up the back of the fight with the double, keeping Lotus in the game. But then you got Cross on the Trundle. He's massive. He's beating him over the head with a big stick. Everybody's dying all over the map here in game 1.
Oh my god, Cross, literally Thanos in this game, by the way. And you see here another play, Drew Dozer taking the portal over from Nausicaa. Cross goes legendary, and another fight won for the Redbirds, who are trying to pull off a bit of an upset. And you see here Lotus, they're not going down without a fight. They start up the Elder Dragon, Cross comes in with the pillar. They do actually manage to collapse on top of the Trundle and take him down. Looks like maybe Lotus are able to come away with this one, but look at Drew Dozer with a huge Pop Blossom, a 3-man Tangle Barbs, and that about does it for ISU.
Yeah, I mean, what a win. ISU not dominant in game number 1, but most certainly exciting. Now in game number 2, though, guess what? We're back to the bottom lane. Another series, another bot lane bloodbath, this time at 12 minutes as it's Lotus bringing the members first. However, ISU, they're the ones with the initial kills. They're the ones that are fighting back. Aljune's going to drop as well, and ISU, despite having a leading kills, slightly down in gold, keeping this early game crazy.
Yeah, Cross on the Wukong. You saw he had a really great game on the Trundle in game number 1. A new player here for the Redbirds, looking very, very good. However, after that fight, things kind of took a turn for the worse, and watch this. The Bomba combo mixture on the support Yasuo going absolutely crazy after that cast from Porsche.
I don't think there's anything more baller than pulling out the Senna Yasuo here in tier 3. And I also want to give a shout out to Aljun as well on the Tristana. Goomba stomping his way through, getting a triple, and now in the final fight. Or is it the final fight, Graves? Look who it is, Aljun. He's been carrying all game, and he's running it down mid with the Tristana, and he's got the Buster shot. He's gonna knock Cross away, and we are going to game 3 off of the Tristana backdoor. Like we said, bangers only in Bloomington.
It's a 23-minute game for Lotus. Aljun went off in that one, and they're looking to keep their foot on the gas to start off game number 3. But look at Drew Dozer, a beautiful counter TP, finds the shockwave, takes down Aljun, and they look for a little bit more off of this play.
Yeah, Lotus, this time they're the ones getting to the early lead. ISU not having the response, and they're down just a little bit, and yet again, the fights are going to get hectic. Look at the shockwave. Drew Dozer on the Oriana. We said his name a lot in game 1, having another pop-off here in game number 2 as Meslo will die, but hang on. What champion is he playing? Here it comes. Here comes the passive.
Yeah, gets one back here. It was very back and forth, actually. You see here, Lotus actually ahead in gold, but Mixture Hex splashes a little bit too early. Aljun's not able to get into this fight, and now with Lotus pretty backed up, a huge shockwave once again from Drew Dozer. That wins the fight for ISU. They look to push down mid lane after Cross gets that big shutdown onto Forsen, and Lotus, our number 4 seed after the conclusion of Swiss, are knocked out with a 2-1 victory for our ISU Redbirds.
Yeah, they're still around. They do go down to the lower bracket where they will face UCI, the 2 pre-group favorites at the bottom there. But ISU roses where it is due. This team looked fantastic, and they delivered in, I would say, Grapes, the most exciting series of the weekend.
All right, we got one for Morningstar, one for ISU. That's our votes here. Mid jungle for the Redbirds, incredible in this series. Cross and Drew Dozer each had some incredible moments, and they'll be moving on to the upper bracket as we can pull up our results there. It's going to be Wang against ISU, our 2 lower seeds talk, as you said. With Lotus and UCI, one of those teams is not going to win a single series in the group stage.
Yeah, after no upsets through groups A through C, Group D decided to flip everything on its head. One of our favorites is going home, and one of the underdogs will advance. But, Grapes, after so many awesome games this weekend, there's still a lot of awesome players to get to know better. So following their banger over win against Lotus this week, I managed to get a hold of some players of ISU for an extremely serious game show. Let's check it out. I am joined by the victorious 4 members of ISU from their pretty insane win this past weekend that I think came out of nowhere for many people, but was still so awesome. We're going to play a fun little game show, but before we get into it, Nausicaa, Cross, Drew Dozer, Meslo, guys, how are we feeling after this weekend?
Good. I'd say pretty good. If we lost, it would have been a very upsetting 2 days, but the fact that we won was pretty good for our morale and pretty good for our weekend.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You love good morale. I don't know if you guys know this as well, but your guys' series was definitely the biggest banger of the weekend. Like, it's between either that one or Morningstar Pulse was also pretty crazy. So, like, I feel like you guys always, ISU has a reputation for delivering bangers only. Care to comment on this this phenomenon? Or
I think it's just like we're also just like we can like variate from being like really good or really bad. So like we don't even know how we'll perform on the day. Like it is really just a coin flip. And then like I picked Bard, which is like a champion I'm super comfortable on. But in the moment, I forgot to do my runes. So I'm actually running Aftershock Bard into double 80 carry. And then
you know,
we mobbed them. So I was like, if we're winning with Aftershock Bard, like we could win this series. That was my thought process at least.
Yeah, and to add to that, I commented on the start, like, Aftershock, do you mean to go that? He's like, yeah, it's actually good some games. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then at the end of the game, he's like, guys, I did not mean to take Aftershock. It is dog.
Yeah. I just didn't want to tilt my teammates. Like, imagine we're going into our big game finally. We've been looking for it all week. And yeah, your support is running the wrong runes.
We're going to play something called the Newlywed Game. It's a famous game show. It's been going on for many, many years. And the way it's going to work is I'm going to ask all of you a question. And you all are silently going to think of an answer for yourselves. Then your partner, your teammate, is going to have to guess what you answered. And I'll give each of you guys 3 guesses to try to figure it out. You'll get 2 points if you get it on one of your first 2 guesses, 1 point on the third. First off, first things first, the most important question. Nausicaa, Cross, Team 1. What's our team name? Well, hit me with it.
It's Team Bonfire. It is Team Bonfire.
Team Bonfire?
Yeah,
okay.
I agree. I'm with
Okay,
it.
Team Bonfire on the top. Team 2, what are we feeling?
Solos. Because we're the solo laners.
Wow.
That's low key creative as hell by me.
No,
Hell
your
yeah.
team's solo dying.
Wow.
That's your team name. Get that out of here.
When has that ever
Hell
happened,
yeah.
by the way?
Oh yeah, when does that ever happen?
Gwen incident.
I just hear every like 4 minutes top lane, my top laner going like, "Wow, this champion is just so annoying."
3 guesses, either NACLQ or Cross, to guess your duo's favorite champion.
So first guess is gonna be Bard.
You go first since it's free.
Corky. Katarina then.
Yeah. Yours is Riven. Zed?
It's one of the characters that I swapped the mid for because you couldn't play them.
LeBlanc.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, then I'd obviously have to go Rek'Sai next. Is this on like
Yeah.
veteran difficulty? What is this?
If we loaded up a game right now, and I was gonna blind pick something, it'd probably be what you think I would explain right now.
Like
In the screen.
Zhao, right?
Yeah.
Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao's
Okay.
gonna be it. All right, there we go. I
You like
guess we're
playing
all
Xin
tied up.
Zhao?
I love playing Zen.
Okay, well,
I think it's so fun.
I'm glad you enjoy it because you've been playing a lot more of it.
Oh, wait, yours is so easy. Chase Atlantic.
No.
Well,
Okay,
but then-
Eden.
Yep.
I'll guess. NF?
MF, like misfortune.
NF like the Raptor.
No,
The
NF.
Eminem.
I think I'm allowed to go for a fat hint right now. I'm giving the hay bale away with this one. All right.
Is that
Not a
the hint?
phrase.
He did the soundtrack for the hit anime series Samurai Champloo.
Just FF.
Oh. Can I vote for? Can I do it for him and get the point?
I don't know about the point, but if you want to go for the steal, I'm so down just for the content.
It's Nujavis, right?
Yep.
That is correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never heard of it. Him.
For what it's worth,
One-
Cross, I would have been in your same boat, so I would have.
I would have been as
idea.
well. I would have been as well.
Now, NACLQ, you have a chance to redeem yourself by guessing Cross's favorite artist.
I only know 3 heavy metal bands.
Oh.
That's Slipknot, there's a
Well-
Avenged Sevenfold, and then Disturbed.
It was Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh, okay. Wait, I didn't guess that because I was like,
Oh.
that's my second
Yeah.
favorite artist. I was like, there's
Yeah.
no way.
Wait, is Bring Me the Horizon the people that did like Wake Me Up When September Ends? Or is that a different
No,
band?
that not even close.
Isn't that Green Day?
That's Green Day.
Oh, that's
That's a very different. That's a very different band.
Let's just go Lofty first. I don't remember the name of the artist, but this is the one that's coming here soon to Bloomington. I can't remember their name though. I don't remember their name.
Yes.
Turnover.
Yes.
Turnover.
Oh.
There you go.
Alright,
There
okay.
you go. Good
All
luck.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah, and
crazy.
you guys getting 4 f***ing partial hints isn't crazy.
Oh yeah, if my hint was Ujabez, then yeah, that would have
Okay,
been
but
crazy.
it's not.
Thank you very much to the players on ISU. Some of the biggest memers we have here in the NACL qualifiers, Hawk. We had a good time with that.
Yeah, I had to just cut him off at the end. They would have gone on for hours there arguing over the rules of the game. But, you know, congrats to Team Solos managing to take home the win, and definitely shout out to them for being good sports for the content.
Yeah. Well, we were able to go through all the games that happened this past week in the NACL qualifiers, which all were played on the live patch. 14.2 just came out, and we saw a couple of interesting things and interesting trends that we wanted to talk about, as we are, of course, one of the only regions that is playing on this patch right now. Let's start off with some of the champions that had some of the highest presence throughout the entire tournament. Of course, Hawk, because this is Fearless Draft, the pick rates aren't going to be as high, but a ton of champions were banned in almost every single game.
Yeah, and some numbers are going to stick out to you almost immediately. Karma with that ban rate and that win rate. It was played in one game. We saw at Ole Miss that first time around. Shogo went massive on the Caitlyn alongside it, and it's just so strong. It's getting nerfed in 14.3, given that we are on the live patch. That does mean it'll be fixed for the week following this next one, but we still got another weekend of perma red side banning Karma coming up.
Yeah, some other champions on this list. Vi has been banned a ton as well, but actually is 1-5 in the games that it has been played. You can attribute some of that to the teams that are picking it, but I think overall Vi, I thought it was interesting that she was a champion that was so highly prioritized in this current meta.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected that either. I feel like Vi is good, but not necessarily the strongest jungler on the current patch. My assumption is that teams just like champion that is really easy to make work in a lot of different kind of team styles. But alongside that, Vi continuing that utility trend, Ashe, Varus, highest presence bot laners, the utility duo looking so strong. Ashe can be played support as well, and in fact, I think is even preferred in that role for the poke that it can put down. In general, prio in bottom lane has been really, really important, whether it's range from the poke or things like Lucian also seeing a lot of play.
Yeah, bot lane has kind of stabilized a little bit where we know a lot of the big champions that are going to be played. You sometimes see a couple of Dravens or Caitlyn's or Senna's, but for the most part, it's Lucian, Ashe, and Varus, who was our most picked champion here this first week. Now, Hawk, even though we see some of the most common champions here, let's talk about some more sleeper picks that we think are pretty good as well. I think we're each going to bring up one champion that we think is going to be pretty good on this patch, and we think pros should be playing a little bit more. Let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of new stuff that is on this Season 14 that we haven't seen quite yet. So my champion to watch, as we can pull it up in the lower third, is going to be Zac for this patch, Grapes. We've already seen 2 games of it this past weekend, 1-1, but that one in the loss column was a still massive game from Cryra that they probably should have won for Polestar. But aside from that, it is like the 3rd highest win rate champion in solo queue right now in top lane. It's one of the strongest junglers. The 2 games of it that we have seen have been in the jungle so far. I want to see someone flex pick it to top lane or even support, by the way. It's top 10 in support win rates in solo queue as well. This champion is just so damn good right now.
I saw an interesting thing on one of the NACL players talked about it on a content piece that was released on Path to LCS's Twitter account. They were talking about how Fearless makes actually flex picks a little bit less valuable, and because you can only pick it once per series. But I still think overall Zac is really, really strong. I also think the 2 players that were piloting it, Cryra and Rapid, this past week played exceptionally on it. These are players who have mastered this champion. The early games specifically were really, really good. And I hope to see more junglers pick that champion up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But Grapes, you also got a champion to watch as well. Hit me with it.
All right, well, we went to the jungle. I could have went with like the Trundle that cross-played in that first game for ISU, but I'm actually going to head to the mid lane with a champion that got a couple of buffs on 14.2, and that is none other than Twisted Fate. Hawk, you saw all this prio down in the bottom lane. Dives, ganks down there. Mid lane priority has become super, super important, and with the buffs that this champion has gotten, you can go AP, you can go AD, you can go hybrid. It was played once by HTY on Morningstar, and it came away with a win. I hope we see a little bit more of it as we continue to go forward.
Yeah, and I mentioned this as well in the Morningstar highlight package, but I love this champion, especially with some of those assassin style comps. A lot of these teams have carries in every single role that Twisted Fate can really enable, and the damage that he's able to do is certainly high at the moment. But Grapes, that's not all for 14.2. Of course, we've got a lot of champions being picked and banned, but also there's the hot topic of what is the superior side select. There's been a lot of conversation around the blue side of the map, in particular being exceptionally strong in Season 14.
Yeah, you can take a look at this. Out of the 18 games that were played this week, blue side only won 55% of the time, which is maybe not super indicative of a ton of information, but I think the bigger detail here, Hawk, is that in 16 out of the 18 games, the team that had the opportunity to select the side went with the blue side. There's a lot of different reasons for this. You get to pick first, you don't have to ban Karma, and also the map changes mean that, as we saw, bot lane dives are actually a lot easier on this new map.
I think it's actually kind of crazy that 2 teams actually opted to not pick blue side just with how strong it has been seen on. And as you said, the win rate not as impressive as it has been in some other regions. I'm pretty sure blue side has an insane win rate in the LEC, if I'm not mistaken, as well. In the CPLO, which I cover, we had after week 1 of play, every team at 1-on-1 because every team just won on blue side. So it has been a bit of a polarizing issue, I think it's fair to say, in the current meta, but here in Tier 3, something we're going to have to continue to monitor. Teams currently selecting it, but not necessarily winning on it all too much.
Yeah, I mean, with this being the first week of GSL, you saw a lot of higher seeds playing lower seeds, and obviously with a lot of 2-0s happening, what happened a lot of the time is the higher seed picked blue side, they won game 1, then the lower seed picked red side or blue side again, and then they also lost.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a couple reasons for this as well. You know, there's power picks on the blue side, but having the accessibility of dives under red side towers can be really strong. And I honestly wonder, as the level of play increases throughout the tournament, if we'll see this trend, the win rate, continue to rise. But nonetheless, Grapes, hey, we still got one more Season 14 change that we got to talk about.
Yeah, if you were here at the start of the show, you might have seen a little skit about it, but Rift Herald is a new thing that you can hop into and ride into a turret. We unfortunately, Hawk, haven't seen our players do too well at that. Rift Herald, it seems like people have got to go to driving school again.
Yeah, we've had some awkward moments. Look, don't let your AD carries drive. We all know that they're not self-sufficient, and Lynx, buddy, that is a wall, my friend.
And then it happened again. I mean, Levitate had probably one of the best series the entire week, and then just hops in the Rift Herald and drives backwards. I don't understand that. And then here as well, Frost actually did drive it in the turret, which is a good thing, but kind of went the wrong way.
Oh no! Yeah, this is the best one. You know, it's a jungler. Oh, they got the tower. It's all good, guys. Oh no, you pop out in the middle of the entire enemy team and just die. That one was definitely my favorite of the weekend. Teams, we got to see you guys clean it up next weekend with the Rift Heralds, or don't, because it's pretty funny content. But talking about funny content as well, Grapes, you guys liked it last week.
I just want to say, like, yeah, if we wanted to do another skit of Herald plays, like, I'm all for it. So
yeah,
let's go.
Hey, we definitely can. But look, speaking of funny content, you guys liked it last week, so I decided to bring it back this week. I sat down with the bottom lane of Polestar, Enthralled, and AB to learn more about them and give the caster low experience in this episode of Riverhawk Talk. We're now 2 weeks of the way through the tournament. How are the vibes?
Vibes are good. Like, all the scrims are going well. The games, we had like some unlucky ones where we got upset. But other than that, I think the teams are going pretty good. Yeah, the series, we played really well overall, but the first game kind of like ruined our mentals because we were up maybe like 6k gold. Right. The score was like 6-19, and it ended the game down 9 kills, down gold, out of a ace on Baron. So it felt really bad for that game.
Y'all have the game against Pookie Bears. Like, you just gonna put them in the dirt and make the lower bracket run?
Yeah.
I like how we have the Bronze Zodia composition, by the way.
Oh, that's our team. Kyra's a Zac player, and then Reppy's a Katarina player. I was a Swain OTP, and Infeld's a Vayne OTP.
How has it been coming into the squad and playing your, what I assume are your first competitive matches?
Well, okay, I played in my collegiate, like, E team. We won 1250 USD in a tournament.
Damn, okay.
What? Coming in, I also had JJ coach me, like, for C-Law before I joined the team. So I already had, like, a little bit of a learning curve.
Is the Pulse team living up to your expectations?
They're beyond my expectations. I didn't expect to join such a good team.
Hell yeah.
Because, like, before Pulse signed me, I had, like, no offers, no tryouts, nothing. Oh, I'm dead here.
I'm coming, we win.
My support? Usually this is me. Enthralled. Why Vayne, and when am I going to see it on stage?
Very good question. You're never going to see it on stage, though, because this champ is disgustingly bad right now for bot lane.
What did you think of the Jojo Pune Vayne mid in LCS? I don't know if you saw that game.
I actually thought it was bad.
Could you have played it better?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, no flash.
Is that Kyra?
Nice.
Better than Kyra already.
Yo, that's what I like to hear. That's the kind of gas that I need on this show.
You're not good.
No. Has anyone ever told you, by the way, that you have a very silky voice?
I think everyone told him that. I think there hasn't been one person that hasn't told him that.
We're gonna kill this guy. I'm bored.
Oh, I'm on time.
Okay.
Got away as well.
I can't reach it.
What? I'm gonna die.
Oh, I'm dead. No flash though.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, pick me Vayne then. The champ's OP actually. Oh, it hits me.
Your champ sucks.
Vayne sucks.
What are your all's personal goals for this open qualifier?
I think the key thing to be a pro player is consistency, right? And you could be the best player one day, worst player the next, and being a pro like that is not it. And I think I lack that.
Okay.
So, yeah, as soon as I fix that, I think I'm gonna go pro just to respect my skill set, my talent. But right now, I'm aware that I'm very inconsistent. I think I could probably play LCS in my best days, but yeah, it's hard to just be on my best every time. But yeah, so now I'm just chilling, waiting for invites if they need me.
Just win, beat TFT.
Just win, beat TFT. Why TFT specifically?
I don't know, I think that's beef against them.
Ooh. AB, you better than Snow too?
Yeah, I'm better than him.
We'll play it up like WWE, right? Like SmackDown, like the rivalries and stuff. I gotta get some like personality questions. Like, I don't know. What's your guys' favorite, like, I don't know, favorite music artist?
Korean R&B.
Ooh. I'm not gonna lie to you, AV. I have not dabbled into the Korean R&B. Am I missing out here?
I feel like you are.
Damn. What?
No, he missed out his DC.
No! No way. I was a little cocky right there. That's on me. Winning. Potentially.
Is it? Could be, yeah. I'm dead. Not winning.
It's not winning. It's not looking good for me, guys. I'm trying to f him up. All right.
I'm there as well. My kill. No.
Okay, I'm griefing so hard.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that put me in passive. Okay, my bad. I'm dead. I should have just
You're
flashed.
TP. Damn.
Samoj, the Hawk int counter is going to be a little bit higher this time.
Well, honestly, it's more of Infeld's fault. Let's be honest. He kept going in.
True. I mean, all I'm saying, I hit tab. This guy's died more than I have.
Is he really an OQ player?
That's going to be like the really clickbait title that we put on this. Like, Hawk better than OQ ADC? Question mark?
Oh, and you're dead.
What the? Wow. Yeah, you do a lot of damage. TY for carry.
That's OP.
Wow, the Katarina gassing you up.
Follow me on Twitch.tv and throw a line.
Well, guys, thanks so much for taking the time and joining me. I had a lot of fun. I hope you all did too. Hope everyone back home is able to learn a little bit of something about the bottom lane of Polestar. And we'll send it back to the show. Hawk better than OQ player? What? Oh, shout out.
You gotta hop in there for next week.
I know they need me. No, but for real though, shout out to Enthralled and AB for having a good time with me. It's a lot of fun getting to know these players on the Rift. But Grapes, we have now come to the final segment of our show where we run through some of our weekly recurring bits, starting with our power rankings that I'm sure you all are going to flame us for on Twitter.
Let's take a look. We had a lot of shakeup this time around after the results of these previous games. You see Taco actually moving up despite going 2-1. I thought that their series overall was pretty good against a competitive CCG. BlackRock and Aporia remaining at the top of the table. And then Wang's Revenge and ISU sneaking into the top half after their wins this weekend.
Yeah, those teams looking so awesome, getting up here after their dubs, as you say. And Pulse, poor Pulse, are the only team that has not moved at all on the power rankings. Continuously looking like the best of the rest, but they have not quite been able to crack in. But Grace, we've also got some big drops. I think UCI being the big one. We caught some flack for rating them 4th last week. Well, they're right back down to 12.
I feel like they go up and down, where they look so good one week and maybe not as good the next, and that's kind of where things get left off. I think the entire 16 teams are very competitive. We haven't seen a lot out of Clown. They played with the sub their first week, but making it to that 3-2 mark is obviously very impressive, and I wouldn't be surprised to see any of these teams take a game or at least get really close to doing so.
Yeah, I think in particular, anyone can really beat anyone. And when we're looking at that top of the table as we progress in the weeks as well, Grapes, these teams are going to be so hard to rate. I would imagine this merry-go-round of like TFT, Winthrop, Morningstar, Ole Miss is just going to continue. And of course, the main question is going to be whether or not Wangs or ISU can actually make it all the way into this top 8 or even this top 4. But after the power rankings as well, Grapes, we have also selected a team of the week. One player from each role that we thought stood above the rest during this week of games. Let's get it on the screen.
It's really hard to do this for just one best of 3, but out of all of the players that particularly impressed, these were the 5 that we selected. Shout out to Shogo, who made it back-to-back after having a great OQ performance, and then this week also really putting pedal to the metal against Pookie Bears, having 2 tremendous back-to-back games. We also have some other players who are making it on for the first time.
Yeah, Kryra especially getting on despite not winning the series. The Zac game in particular, I think, raising this man's stock quite a bit. Drew Dozer, we talked about him a lot, as well as Boil the Oil for their fantastic upset performances, it's worth noting. Do want to give a shout out to Denethor, who didn't make it onto this list, as well as Levitate, who unfortunately could not get on because Shogo just went that 1v9 this week.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier on in the show, but Taco's bot lane really outperformed CCG's throughout all 3 games of the series. I wish that the Snow 2 area could be for Levitate and Snow 2, because that is basically what we're shouting out here. But Shogo on the other side played tremendously as well.
You know, we just decided to get the best of both worlds right here, you know? May as well. We got one player from each team, or, you know, each player is from a different team this time around. There's no one really that stood that far above. And I do think that does speak to the level of competition that we have here in the LCS Challengers League qualifiers. Every team truly does feel like they can beat anyone on any given day. And speaking of, we still have more games coming up next week. All 16 teams still remain, but that will change next week as we can look at our upcoming schedule. Starting in Group A, BlackRock, Team Fish Taco, winner advances, while CCG Clown, loser goes home. We are going to start seeing teams drop off.
These upper bracket games in Group A and B are crazy. BlackRock, Team Fish Taco, Aporia, and Winthrop all went 3-0 to start off the Swiss bracket, and they ended up actually playing against each other in round 4. BlackRock against Winthrop, Taco versus Aporia, and so now those teams are kind of getting swapped around. Each group gets to play against a different opponent, and I think that's going to lead to a very, very competitive top of the table in these groups.
Yeah, I mean, these teams, whichever one doesn't move on after this weekend as well, you know they're going to be out for vengeance in the following week. But we'll see if some of the teams in the lower bracket have anything to say about it. Particularly for me, looking at Gentle Hearts, Abandoned Kittens, I think this is the moment where Abandoned Kittens can maybe make some waves and continue on their upset ways. But we can also flip over now to Group C and Group D, where if you thought that first page of games was exciting, Grapes, how about them apples?
Yeah, I mean, every one of these 4 teams, in my opinion, are very close to each other in terms of level of play. Particularly in Group D, where even though UCI versus Wang was a 2-0, I thought that could have gone all the way, and then we had ISU versus Lotus, obviously. Ole Miss versus Morningstar. You know, again, 2 new teams making their way to the top of the table. I'm very excited to see how that one comes away with. And then we have our 2 lower seeds, ISU and Wang. One of them is going to not only qualify into the quarterfinals, but also earn 10 additional qualification points for finishing in first place. That is going to be a big difference maker for some of these squads as we make our way towards that coveted promotion tournament.
Yeah, not only that, the opportunity to raise your stock with the selection committee. I know I was really impressed, particularly with Wang's Revenge watching the tape, but ISU, they're a team accustomed to playing spoilers, and they're going to want to continue doing so. Meanwhile, one of Lotus or UCI, they will be going home. But Grapes, I mean, so many amazing matches, so many amazing games. We did have to select one for our match of the week to watch.
Yeah, and that's going to be in Group C with Ole Miss versus Morningstar White. I mean, they're right next to each other in our power rankings right now. I think if either team has a convincing win, they could jump all the way to the top if things go right. So many exciting matchups to talk about. Icelandic Hero up against Seoul in the jungle. AH against Shogo should be exciting as well. We have not still seen a ton of games out of Morningstar as a competitive roster, while Ole Miss has been playing in the circuit for CLOL over the last few months. So it's going to be a real test, maybe one of the biggest ones that they have had in terms of SF3.
I know, for real, especially Ole Miss, a team that feels like they always play so well together as five, while Morningstar, they have been hands-checking people all across Summoner's Rift. But Grapes, we have one segment remaining here for your evening before we put you on your way, and we save the best for last. Let's take a look at the top 5 plays of the week.
We're going right off the bat, number 5, back over to ISU. Drew Dozer on the Nico. Once again, you know, they kill Cross, Lotus Sinks, they have a chance, and then the Pop Blossom into the Tangle Barbs. I mean, wow, what
Yeah, that is the epitome of a game-winning sort of Pop Blossom right there. Drew Dozer really making his presence felt. We get the slow-mo replay. I think, honestly, is the root more impressive than, like,
honestly,
the giant AoE ultimate itself? Because that's what got really all the kills instead of them getting away on low health.
Yeah, ISU taking that game and the series. Moving on to number 4. We could have picked a lot of Kryra plays, but this combo with the B, getting the 3-man knockup and then the cleanup of everybody, that was at the top of my list.
I think it would be just criminal to not put a Kryra play on this list because of how good a series this player had. And we talked about it a little bit, actually, in Riverhawk Talk, but you could tell that those Polestar members want that series back, and they might next week, depending on how our match of the week goes. But coming in now at number 3, keep your eyes on Dominion!
Man, I'm very sad that Devin actually fell for that one. I mean, the game was won at this point for the Abandoned Kittens, and I think the number that this is at, the rank that this is at, is more due to the stakes and the gravity of it than the actual play itself. But shout out to Samikin, really nicely done. We're going to go on to our number 2 play as we head back over to Taco versus CCG, and we're going to put on our dancing shoes a little bit, Hawk, as Sudsy goes a little crazy underneath his own tier 1.
This play, I mean, can it get any filthier than this? Look at him go. The lifesteal, the fleet footwork, and the dodging of the axes. I mean, everything timed so perfectly. He jukes another one. And the fact that he is still able to get away in the long chase. Look at the juke back forth, waiting for the W cooldown, gets out. I mean, Sudsy on the LeBlanc, a player that I think was quieter than expected in the OQ, really coming out in GSL.
And at our number 1 play from this weekend, it's none other than Shogo. I mean, this fight looked like Pookie Bears had a good opportunity to win it. Shout out to both Stray and Icelandic Hero for the peel, but it was really the Shogo show.
The fact that Shogo goes completely untouched maybe deserves the credit of his teammates, but also the positioning, the damage that comes through, flash forward, cleans it up, and that is the game. Yeah, get the slow-mo of Vamps. He can't do anything but look at the game slip away. And Grapes, that will conclude our top 5 plays of the week. If you think we missed one or anything like that, shoot us a message on Twitter. Make sure, players, show us your clips. Put those things on social media. Let's get more and more eyes on tier 3. But folks, we have come towards the end of the show. Another week of LCS Challengers League qualifiers has concluded, but we still have a whole lot more ahead of us here on tier 3 tonight. We will be with you this entire split, breaking down all of the action in 90 minutes exactly. Grapes, thank you so much for joining me on the show once again today. We had a lot of fun, a lot of good content. Shout out to Rally Cry, of course, for all their help, as well as Riot for having us on the show. Shout out to our production team, our amazing VMix producer sitting there pressing the buttons right now, Camcom, as well as Cyanidance for helping us with all of our graphics, editing, and other needs that we have. Shout out to all the players and the fans that keep tier 3 worth watching and so amazing, because there truly is something special here every single week. Follow me and Grapes on social media, as well as checking out Path to LCS. Make sure you check out LCS and the proper LCS Challengers League on the weekends. But for all of us here on the show, I've been Hawk, that's been Grapes. Stay safe, everybody, and I hope you have an excellent night.